Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Waking up for a little bit of a later Sunday morning over here from Chicago, Illinois. As always, wish you a nice and relaxing and profitable weekend from me to you as I make sure that my mic is working. Okay, I believe it is working. I believe I'm also recording. I'm very excited about this new software. And we got plenty to talk about because Bitcoin's actually taking a little bit of a tumble, a little bit of a rough tumble right now. Coming off of yesterday's yesterday's move, which we actually did end up hitting our first target yesterday towards that 11,150-ish region, but now Bitcoin backing off and we come back to equilibrium essentially, and from now more trading ideas kind of emerging. So with that said, I do want to wish you the best, the happiest of the happiest, and I'll see you in the live scene. And just like that, we're in it, baby. As the mood kind of sets down in the background, there's actually a massive fog rolling through the city right now, so you might be able to see it. But anyways, with regards to Bitcoin price action, we actually just took out yesterday's daily to low. I believe on all exchanges, we saw a low of 10,352.5 on Mexico. Then we just got about $25 lower today. What about GDAX? Do we agree? Yes, it does. Bitstamp agrees as well. So I do think that we probably have a little bit lower here to go. You can see that Bitcoin's very obviously playing between the yellow 21 exponential moving average and that green 50 exponential moving average right here. More importantly, yesterday's daily dolo now gets to be seen as a rejection of the yellow 21 exponential moving average, which to me is always very important. I don't really want to be holding any sort of long-term longs or medium-term longs for that matter, as long as we're living below that. That's just one of my rules. The thing is that this price action is a little bit nasty here because we actually did make a slight higher high over this breakdown point from the 15th of July yesterday. So do you consider this a bull trap and then reversal? Perhaps, but I would take the more deductive process and approach to looking at this right now. And while I would say that it's probably likely that we do head back down and test around 10,250, maybe 10,100-ish region, I might try another trade there, just kind of like I tried yesterday. So to follow up on my position yesterday, I ended up taking most of the profit off at around $11,000, or sorry, 11,100. Near the first target. And again, the reason why I take off most is because we're still living below the 21, technically speaking. We had not closed anything above, so I'm always going to want to take some off there, and then I held the rest through and actually just had a stop overnight somewhere right around about 10,650-ish region, and ended up getting taken out of that. So got to walk away with most of the actual profits from it, and right now just kind of sitting flat and waiting for the next move really. I think actually I have maybe a little bit of a long position still left over. Yeah, a little bit of a long position still left over there. But I'll probably end up covering that soon anyways. So with regards to the way that the daily is looking right now, we have to realize that still looking at historical volatility percentile, this is still telling me that we're overall in a decision phase here. We are almost having a change of behavior in the sense that we're almost wrangled back down below this moving average, which would suggest that this baby can roll once again. And with the way that we're kind of coming off of this rejection right here, I mean, it would suggest that we actually do come back down and test 10,100. So that begs the question, is this a confirmed bull trap or not? Did we literally just put in a bull trap yesterday and we're going to be headed much lower towards $10,000 even, and then about 9,500, maybe even to the 8s? Possible, very much possible. But I think it's still a little bit too early to kind of judge something like that. We want to really be looking at the higher time frames today because the weekly will be closing later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the weekly, as it stands right now, if we close anywhere above about 10.3 to 10, especially 10.4, let's just make it 10.4. This is going to be considered a very good reaction off the red 10 moving average. So to me, that is what you want to see in a very strong trending market. When you come back down and consolidate, on your bull moves, you're very rarely does this actually happen, but during very strong trending markets, you'll only come down to your red 10 moving average. Usually you actually come down to your 21, and if we actually back test this for Bitcoin, you can see very easily that Bitcoin loves to actually play off these two major moving averages, especially the 21 from a longer term time frame perspective. And you see that 21 coming in down all the way and catching in pretty much all the lows during the last sort of bull run. And during this run, we actually haven't even tested it once. We've only tested really the red 10 simple, which again, it would imply that Bitcoin's in a very strong market right now, which I agree. It's in a fucking super strong market right now, but I always do have to kind of, keep the other eye open because if we do lose this area, it's extremely likely that we actually do come down and test the 21, which is going to be coming into the mid to low 8,000s probably in this next tick later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It does go without saying that going back down to the 2-day, we did actually have a pretty damn good close on 2-day yesterday. On the last close. And then on this one right now, which is going to be closing again tonight, later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, along with the weekly and daily, we are just kind of playing between a range of the yellow 21 and the red 10 symbol. Thus far, it looks like a massive rejection of the red 10 symbol, to be fair, but a little bit too early to be judging this one. And more importantly, as long as we close this 2-day dildo above about 10.3, 10.350, anywhere above the 21 exponential moving average right here, I would say that that's overall fine, and I would still be kind of leaning up a little bit more long term, saying that this is likely a healthy consolidation. If we lose it, no, then I'd say that we're probably likely to come down ultimately over time over the next few weeks into the 8,000s most likely. But for right now, it's still kind of holding in there, and it's a little bit too early to be kind of judging this from a from a more longitudinal perspective as well. We still got about 9 hours and 3 minutes left until the daily will close. But as you can see right here on the 12-hour, things are looking a little more droopy. It does look like it wants to test around 10,250 to me, or you could even say that we already kind of did that. But more importantly, we do see 12-hour oscillators actually headed to the upside right here. Momentum oscillators, Stokes, saying that we're actually headed back into the bullish control zone. 12-hour RSI actually getting out of the bearish control zone right in over here, and making some waves, doing something different for a little, for the first time in a while. 12-hour Joule not really telling us too much, but pairing that up with the daily is where things start to get a little more interesting, because we actually do see daily Stokes to the upside as well. Now, of course, could we have a fake out here? Could this be confirmed as a bull trap and in reversal right off those regions? Very, very, very possible. Of course, that's always going to be a topic of conversation. It's always a possibility in any sort of market. That's the fucking risk that we have. But when you play your edge, I still think that until we actually get a full-on breakdown, I don't think bearish is the right term for what my disposition would be. Bullish isn't necessarily the right term here either. It's more just sideways in consolidation, kind of frustrating both sides. I mean, both the bulls and the bears have been looking for moves to 16,000 and then to fucking 8,000 every goddamn day, when realistically we've just been kind of going sideways. So that's why more or less I'm a support and resistance trader, and why yesterday I was taking off most of my position here, even though I do think that this thing can still go higher. But for right now, I'd rather have a deductive approach as a trader. Anyways, let's go down to the 4-hour, and I want to follow up with what we were kind of focusing on yesterday, and that is going to be with regards to the 4-hour death cross on the exponentials. And that's, oh, motherfucker, it changed my colors once again, you bastard, how dare you? There we go. Maybe that's a little, does that look better? No. Where's the right color? Is it this guy right here? Maybe. I don't know if that's the right color either, but it looks better. All right. Well, you know what? I'm a visual person, so it better look good. So yeah, this is obviously the green 50 exponential moving average, and then the purple 200 exponential moving average right here. The big news with this one is that I really don't want to see this death cross. What we're seeing right now is we're seeing we're seeing a war going on between the bulls and the bears. The bulls want to avert any sort of a death cross, meaning the green 50 crossing the downside of the purple 200, and the bears obviously want to make that happen. Why is it important? Well, historically speaking, Bitcoin loves to play off this cross, especially on the exponentials. Simple moving averages, I don't think hold as much weight. You see a lot more fake outs with them, but the last golden cross that we got was right in over here during 15th of February, right? That led Bitcoin all the way up from about 3,500 to 14,000. Very fucking important, man, because it just shows that the bots and algos respect this one, and it kind of sets in the long-term trajectory. By the same token, if we kind of go back to the last prior bull market and look at it from this sort of perspective right in over here, we can get an idea of what the death cross during an overall general uptrend, a strong general uptrend, can kind of give us. And while yesterday I did a little bit of a lazier job doing this, from the actual cross to the low, the percentages are obviously a lot more than where you would have gotten if you just measured from the actual price action to low. But regardless, my point is kind of the same, in the sense that once we get the death cross, it's usually a quick swift move to the downside and then levels out. And then more importantly, and this is the more actionable thing, once we get the golden cross back to the upside, that's really getting the nice momentum being gained, once again. And that's, as a trader, where I want to be, thinking opportunity cost. So yeah, we get the death cross over on up here, but it's relatively short-lived, and same kind of reaction right in over here. Death cross happens right here. Price action already had put in its low essentially, but even if you kind of take it from there, it's still about 15%. So we typically look at a range between about 15 to 25% on these guys, and the average duration of it playing out is maybe like a week and a half to 2 weeks. This one about 22%, but again, I'm doing this in a very lazy way. If we take this from the last kind of spike high to the low, yeah, it's still about 24%, you could say. And then same thing right in over here. The low had already been put in after the death cross was had, but it still gives us an insightful look into what price is actually doing. Another 23.5% move right there. And then after that, it was just straight onwards and upwards to the ultimate high before getting death crossed and playing out the full bear market of 2018. So again, if Bitcoin were to get a death cross from here, historically speaking, what could we expect? Maybe like 20 to 20% down move from here, where that put us in around, oh my God, middle of 8,000. Holy shit. Does that line up with the weekly 21 exponential moving average? Yes. Does that line up with the probably some on the 2-day and probably some on the 3-day and probably some on the daily? But if I'm just going to take a guess, hazard a guess here, we're going to see the daily probably like 200 coming around there, and then the 2-day like 50 probably as well. If I put it back on all these guys right here, not the 50, but the 89. Yeah, it's going to be coming in right around there over time. But anyways, you get the idea, right? In the sense that from a longer term perspective, I want to keep an eye on that just because it's going to give us, insights to kind of where we are with regards to the overall market phase right now. So full disclosure, I don't really have any real long positions open right now. I suppose I have a little bit of long exposure. Now, what I can do here is I can try a really boneheaded trade. I don't mind this. I actually don't mind trying this trade out just because I had a lot of success with the last couple trades to the upside right here. I can put on a little bit more of a riskier trade and just kind of throw a caution to the wind because my winner is going to pay for my losers here. But I could easily manage a trade using the 12-hour 89 or even the daily 50 if it's probably coming around this region. Yeah, around 10-100. If I wanted to try a trade at this current low right now. Do I think it's worth it? I'd basically be betting on on the stance that the bulls are going to try to avert this death cross because we're going to be closing this 4 hour in the next 57 minutes and 22 seconds. If we close anywhere below this region, it's going to become it's probably actually going to happen if that does happen. But it's not until we open and close a 4 hour diddle below this guy where I'd say that this is actually officially broken and we do come down to the next major support levels. But if I want to take a pot shot, I probably could. I might think about it a little bit more as this video goes on. Let's see what are very low time frames kind of telling us right now. Let's see. We do see historical volatility percentile on the 30 minutes, which actually does get things really, really well. Kind of printing snake eyes as of recent times. So we are getting ready for a move, I'd say. What about the hourly? Hourly, same thing. Yeah, hourly saying that we're getting ready for a pretty big move actually with regards to this time frame. Historical volatility percentile extremely low right now. So if I did want to try a trade, I could do one here, have a stop maybe at our current low or maybe even all the way down here. Not a huge deal. I'm not too inclined to try this trade right now, but every once in a while, after a few successes, you can kind of afford to take more of a pot shot at these areas because the risk is limited. You don't have to risk all that much money to figure out if this trade is going to work or not. Probably like back down to 10,350, anywhere below there, and it's like, all right, this is not going to be working out. Anyways, I do want to cover a few more things. Let's go over here to the Bitcoin network momentum. I want to talk about some fundamental. I don't think I've mentioned this enough on my channel, but this is going back to Willy Woo's work, so shout out to him, fucking genius. This is essentially the Bitcoin network momentum represented by this brown oscillator here, plotted against the yellow line chart for Bitcoin price action. And you do see just a nice, nice signature of essentially higher highs and higher lows being put in on the network momentum. Once that happens, we get into a nice bull market, sitting in lows right here, getting the actual momentum on price action. And then we kind of sit in this horizontal support right here, rally up for the next few years. Then we create negative momentum by putting in lower highs and lower lows. And then once we break this trend line right here, highs are put in, we come down, make some more lower lows, more lower highs, until we actually set in our first higher low right here, then first higher high right here, get back above this last horizontal breakdown point of the prior market cycle, and you can see that momentum's actually being gained right around that point. And we march on to the new all-time highs for the next few years, doing the same sort of thing right here, putting another horizontal support trend line, then we create some lower highs, putting the actual top right here shortly after that, and then some lower lows, actually breaking this guy right here, the horizontal, at which time, Bitcoin plays out a bear market for the next year and a half. And then we're actually doing some new now. We're actually doing some potentially extremely new and novel. And that is what we're looking at right now. I do believe that Bitcoin might be in the process of setting in its first higher low. As you do see, we put in our low right here. We have seen the low on price action, but as far as momentum goes, are we actually gaining positive momentum? I don't believe that we set in a higher high just yet. I think we just got a few ticks shy of this if I actually really look at it. That's 306. We got up to 303 there, and then we're setting a higher low right here. So if we can actually get past this last prior little local high, then I would say that we actually officially have an uptrend on this. And from this perspective on the Bitcoin network momentum, which really sets the tone for like a long-term play, you would say, though I believe the proper way to interpret this would suggest that the next cycle actually gets significantly higher than our last highs, like multiples actually. Now, I really like to kind of step away from the more moon boy type talk. It's fun, it's good mental masturbation. It looks good for the YouTubes to be able to say like Bitcoin to 80,000 in 2 years, or sorry, 1 day. It's too fucking long, man. Ain't nobody got time for that. What I would say is I can actually see where that's coming from. If this operates in the same way that we kind of expect, but essentially want to see this kind of turn around, confirm this lower high, then create a higher high over this guy right here, and then get back above this breakdown point from the past prior mark cycle. And then I would say that that's actually going to really lead up for major momentum being gained over a long period of time. And the thing is that as of right now, price action is really not that far off the all-time high to begin with. So if we actually do confirm that high or this higher low and then actually gain momentum, I mean, that's gonna have some pretty fucking massive implications for price action long term. Again, I don't want to sound like a moon boy, but again, this is long term. We're talking like years out. But that would suggest that Bitcoin gets to some of those crazier numbers, I suppose. Anyways, going back into the price action right here. Bitcoin looking a little bit more sick on the lower time frames. We do see hourly Stokes to the downside here, but the thing is that with historical volatility percentile this low and in hourly Stokes this low as well, I mean, if we actually do see them start to turn around, I would say that that's going to be a damn good indication that this next big splurt of this what's it called, of this mean reverting oscillator mean reverting indicator is probably going to be the upside. Then again, I don't want to put my opinion onto this just before it actually happens because, well, I'm not going to really be trading this for full disclosure. I want to kind of enjoy my Sunday and work on some other projects, but same thing with 2 hour historical volatility percentile getting extremely low here, while these are actually breaking. But if you want to kind of look at this, this past prior low right here, I mean, you could also make the argument that this might just be setting in a higher low. We made a higher high right on over here. We took out the high of July 15th. The bulls have a case as well, basically saying that we actually just took out a breakdown point and we're in a nice consolidation. Yeah, it's droopy, yeah, it's sloppy, but that's Bitcoin and that's okay. And then we head onwards and upwards as all from momentum also to start to reset and head back up. So 2 hours Stokes getting down there as well, while historical volatility percentile kind of hanging out the bottom as well. I mean, this thing, the next explosive move is likely to be pretty fucking massive. Same thing with 3 hour right here. 3 hour Stokes getting quite there on the low side, which have been extremely good at getting the actual price action. We do see a nice support coming in right around about 10.2, so anywhere between about 10.2 to 10.250. I might be looking for a trade. But of course, this can all be superseded by the 4 hour death cross potentially looming. If that happens, I will get bearish, for moves at the very least sub 10,000, and then probably sub 9,000 over time. But we'll have to reassess that one. The general areas that I'd be looking towards would first be 10,000 even, then 95, 9,600, and then like 86 to 8,800 region. Tentatively speaking right now, but a little bit too early to kind of judge something like this. However, this is looking a little bit more nasty here, to be fair. We do see 4 hour Stokes actually just still have plenty of room here, to be fair. Although everything between the 4 hour to the 12 hour has not been pretty damn good or very accurate with getting these. And the 12 hour daily and lower time frames look poised to kind of turn back up. And usually when I see those guys agree with each other, that's the side that I want to go with. So I don't like trading against that. Then again, I have my rule where I really don't want to be, holding on to short-term or even, medium or long-term longs, as long as we're below the daily 21. And this is just kind of an area of fuckage right now. Anyways, let's go over and check out the expected moves chart. Jesus Christ, man. My God, that's fucking annoying. But the expected moves chart right here, just kind of playing between these first standard deviations. So whenever I see something like that, that's telling us that we're likely consolidating. And the range is basically between about 10.2 to the downside, as we spoke about 10.9 to the upside. So any sort of a move between that range is just be looked at as as just bigger consolidation on the bigger picture, with the weekly taking precedence and kind of where it closes tonight. If we close above about 10.4, this would look like a good reaction off a major moving average and would actually imply general health. If we close below, then we'll talk about what that looks like tomorrow. But for right now, just kind of playing between this region. And what we do see historical volatility percentile on the lower time frame start to really level off. That would suggest that this probably does find resolution relatively soon, I would say. Now, I always like to remind myself on the higher time frames that the picture is still very much unchanged from the higher time frame perspective. This is your monthly right here. Monthly structure is still pretty damn good. We do have higher highs for the first time in well over a year. Not only that, but we have our first open and close on the monthly above the yellow 21. Very big deal to me. And more importantly, we do see monthly Stokes headed upwards and onwards, actually going to be getting out of the bearish control zone for the first time in over a year as well. Monthly RSI getting back above the exponential. I like that. Although, to be fair, it is testing into the bullish control zone, which the last time we had a kind of signature like this did line up for a pretty swift rejection, although that rejection was quickly bought back on up. However, that was about a 40% move to the downside. We're at 40%, 40% move to the downside off our current highs, kind of land us at right now, mid 8,000. So, again, mid 8,000 kind of lined up with a lot of different things. From a longer term time frame perspective. So if we do initiate some downside, that's kind of the edge of where I'd really be looking at as I make sure that this is what's going on here. There we go. Okay, beautiful. And back onto the actual charts right now. And then also, of course, the Trollender bands kind of setting us up for a bullish position as well. I just look at this as general profit taking off the top band, pretty normal shit. And if we do close anywhere around 12,000 by end of month, it's going to start to look pretty damn good from like a long term trading perspective. So that's really what I want to talk about right there. Other than that, let's go check out CME's CME futures. Let's go to a daily. They're going to be open up later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And what do we have here? We do see daily Stokes looking a little bit weaker to the downside. We do see daily RSI looking to me like it's actually rejecting the bearish control zone, just oscillating between the bullish control zone and the neutral zone. That's okay. I don't have a huge issue with that. Other than that, though, I don't necessarily like the way that we closed on Friday. It does look like a rejection of the 21. If we get continuation of this guy to the downside, very, very likely that we come back down to about 9,500 and probably low over time. But for now, a little bit too early to judge this one. It's going to come down to where we open up later tonight. And the fact is that we did close at 10,460 on Friday. So if we do open up, if spot is trading lower than where CME's closed on Friday when they open up later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, then I'd probably be looking to be a seller on the gap fill. But if spot is trading above where CME's closed, then I'd probably be looking to be a buyer on the gap fill. Just for at the very least like a scalp bounce play. I'd much rather take the trade to the upside here, but if it does happen to be to the downside, that probably does set this asset up for more prolonged downwards downwards drift. But personally speaking, I actually don't really lean to the downside. I probably sound like a goddamn permabull and shit like that, but realistically speaking, yes, this price action is looking droopy here, but we haven't destroyed any sort of major structural areas just yet, and we don't have the death cross either. So the major structural areas are these two blue boxes right here. The first one to the upside, which was our kind of target yesterday, right around about 10, what is it, like 10.9, and then this guy to the downside right over here, which is currently coming in around about 10.150-ish region. So any sort of move between this region right here is just, it's just to be interpreted as consolidation as far as I'm concerned, and technically still making higher lows off of this spike low right here. The second that we take out this low right here, though, however, at 10,111 on GDAX, then we got some big problems, because this is gonna look like a confirmed bull trap. No more excuses for this, and we're probably gonna head much lower. But for right now, still, kind of right in the middle of the range, looking a little more droopy to be fair, but I think a little bit too premature to really be judging this. Technically speaking, we did get a higher high yesterday over our breakdown point of July 15th. I think that does mean something. However, again, I'd rather just kind of wait this one out here. I want to be positionless for a little bit of time and just let price action kind of unravel itself. Let's see, what else do we want to talk about? I suppose we could go look at Mrs. Litecoin now, because Mrs. Litecoin actually has been pretty damn good at getting the overall moves. And so what's Mrs. Litecoin doing over here? We do see daily is a rejection of the 21 as well. We're kind of resting right on support as this goes all the way down to about $95.5. I would be looking for a bounce at $95.5, most likely on lower time frames. Does the bounce bring us back though to equilibrium though? That's a real question, because as you can see right here, this does look like it's kind of just flagging out after a nice little move to the upside. I know a lot of bulls are calling this inverted head and shoulders. I do not believe it's an inverted head and shoulders, neither for Bitcoin either. It's got the wrong it's not the right volumes in the chart. It's also not the right shape either. And the right shoulder is kind of dragging on for too long as well, so the structure isn't all there. More importantly, if we do break back down below this region right here, that whole case will be destroyed, and we'll very, very likely come back down to about $88 on something like this is Litecoin. By the same token, it's just like Bitcoin. I don't really want to judge this one prematurely. Daily, as long as it kind of holds $95.5, still kind of presenting an overall okay picture. Can make the argument both ways. And more importantly, the weekly close is going to be coming tonight. A weekly close anywhere above $93.50, anywhere above this yellow 21, and I think that we test higher again next week into actually like 110 to 115 range over time. Just kind of create a nice little consolidation here, and that's what I think is most likely to happen actually for Mrs. Litecoin. I think that should probably bounce this area, and we do end the day above $93.50. If that happens, and yes, I think that this consolidation drags on a little bit further, but ultimately, more healthy moniker on it. If we do break below, anywhere below $93.50, then we're gonna have some issues. Probably back down, and just ultimately back down to these lows right here, and perhaps even lower than that. Let's go check out Mr. BR really quick. 220. Not really leading the market, not really kind of just following. Looking a lot more sick than Mrs. Litecoin. I'd say, I really don't want to judge this one on its own. It's likely going to follow and amplify whatever Bitcoin and Litecoin do. If Litecoin and Bitcoin close above those areas that we spoke about, this one probably pulls through and works its way back up to like 250-ish next week. If Bitcoin and Litecoin fall through, then we're probably going to see over the next few weeks Mr. Bureau will come down to like 180 and maybe even a little bit lower than that, like 169. Good number as well. But looking at the lower time frames, looks sloppy as fuck here to be fair. Looks like it kind of wants to come down in the lower time frames back to like 218 region, maybe bounce a little bit there. But again, it's likely to follow whatever Bitcoin and Litecoin do. Don't really think it has much. I don't really think it's a driving force in this market right now. So yeah, speaking of, let's go back to Bitcoin and Litecoin just for a second. I'm curious what this is starting to look like. We got 42 minutes and 30 seconds left on this 4-hour dillo. This one likely to break the 21. Nasty girl. Anyways, let's go check out the other top shitcoins. I don't think we have anything new to talk about on gold. We already beat that horse to death. What about Link BTC here? Looks like it wants to come back down and test around 23,000 satoshis. But overall, I kind of identify this as just one massive consolidation after a nice run to the upside. Kind of similar to Bitcoin in a sense, but it's going to spend some time going sideways. That's okay. It's not until we actually break 23,000 satoshis to the downside where I start to say that this one, takes on a different meaning. But for now, probably grinds this area out and then pops back up towards 29,000 satoshis over time. But the big thing here is not to really look at something like this, to look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. And so the Bitcoin dominance chart, we called a top on this earlier last week, which I'd still stick with. And while it is kind of being resilient in this region, I do think that ultimately we do come down to like the 66.5 to 66 region right here, which would allow for most alts to piece together some rallies. Which, if I look at, I'm just looking down the list right now, I can see that some alts are actually rallying versus Bitcoin. Doesn't mean that they're going to rally versus the US dollar. That's probably more important to look at Bitcoin for that. Bitcoin rallies versus the dollar, they probably do as well. But with Bitcoin, dominance looking like it wants to kind of cool off a little bit here. I would say that a lot of alts are probably going to put in a little bit of rallies over the next maybe like week or two or three, whatever it's been. But longer term, I'd still be bullish off this. So right now, we hit the measure move off this flag formation and also off of this ascending trunk right here. Both these got hit. So algos and bots going to be targeting those areas and going to be taking profit off that. It's also the 200 exponential moving average on the weekly. So just very, very common inputs, right? So we're likely to pull back more off this region, like I said, about 66 to 66.5 is where I'd be looking towards. And then actually after that, I'd be bullish on it once again. So I'll probably get a little bit of a rest here from getting, cream pied on and getting boo-caked all fucking day. And then probably to resume at a later date. So the boo cake party has been postponed, but fear not, because the boo cake will be back, my friends. Very, very likely. So for now, I'll look at something like Cardano. I'm going to imagine that's probably trying to dig in here. And yeah, it looks like it wants to dig in here. We did get that move to 610 yesterday. I was saying I want to see a move up to the 21. We do have some bullish divergence on the daily as well. I do think that we still kind of, work our way maybe a little bit higher than that, like 630. I don't necessarily consider it a target hit just yet. I'd say 630 to 650-ish region is where I'd be looking towards. And you're probably going to see most alts rally versus Bitcoin. Just like that. And then after that, then we'll come back to it and reassess. BNB kind of getting rejected harshly at the 21 as well, coming into today, but catching one in the red 10 symbol. I think this one does work its way back up towards $30.50. Kind of a nasty reaction there, but again, it's the higher time frames that take precedence, and the weekly is a damn good reaction off the 21. I would actually feel a lot more comfortable with Bitcoin if Bitcoin only came down to its yellow 21 exponential moving average, like BNB, and had a reaction like this. This would be phenomenally good. Bitcoin only came down to the 10 simple, which would imply that Bitcoin's stronger, but I just feel from a longer term perspective, I'd really like to be a buyer on that region, really. Not because it's 100% guaranteed to work out. No, there's no such thing as that. But I do feel like, it offers up a good risk-reward perspective, which over time I know is going to be likely good. Zcash versus USD, not fucking good here. But again, I don't think it's going to do anything, different than the rest of the market. Kind of looks like it does want to come back down to like 71 bucks. But again, it's going to, Bitcoin bounced here. It's going to follow. Same Bcash did hit our target yesterday of 350. Nice, not bad. Catching wind of the red 10 symbol today. I do think that it probably does rally off this region and reach back towards 350. By the same token, if we do take out yesterday's daily low at 344, then it's going to fall apart and we come back down to sub 300 to like 283. But I do like the bullish look on this one. We do see daily stocks to the upside, kind of holding this area. And while the first target has been hit and we do initiate a pullback, I think it gives this one another try. Tron Cash, what's Tron doing? Coming back to test the 200 simple. Really want to see this area hold. As long as it holds, I think okay. This looks like a nice little bear trap here. As long as it holds. Needs to hold this area though, 2.7. Neo, what's Neo doing? Same sort of thing. Needs to hold the 10 simple. Otherwise, probably back down to 1130. If it fails to hold, or sorry, if it does hold the 10 simple, then I'd be looking for a move back up towards 15.5 over time. Over time, again, the keyword. EOS, I'd like to see. I don't consider this target hit. I still want to see about 463, 464. Ripple Me Nipple still holding the 30-cent region valiantly. As long as it holds this, the year-long trend line is intact. If it does break, then we can talk about moves down into the lower teens, maybe even upper single digits. But for now, still a measure move off this triangle formation right here. But still holding up off this trend line right here and being quite resilient. I do think that it moves towards. I mean, this one pretty much did hit our target yesterday. I said 34, about 34 cent. We got to 34 cent. Nice. I do think that it tries a little bit higher, maybe like 34.5 cent though. Monero, what's he doing? Holding above the 200 exponential, so not bad there. Next target to the upside would be about 94 bucks, but again, going to depend on the rest of the market. Stellar, what's Stellar doing? Getting rejected like it just loves to fucking do. But I do think that the weekly is going to salvage itself above the 200 exponential moving average. We do try to put in the local low here, but Jesus Christ, a lot of these charts look really, really god awful. I mean, just fucking pathetic is what they look like. But going back to Bitcoin, to wrap this bitch up, overall, I do think that Bitcoin, do I want to call a big move here? I don't want to call a big move here. No, what I would say is, if you want to do the deductive process on this, I think that's the best way to trade. Of course, it's not financial advice. Not financial advisor. Just kind of sharing, what I'm thinking of these exact same situations. I'll probably try out some trades somewhere down around here, just not because it's 100% guaranteed to work out, just because I know that if I only have to risk about 50 bucks on price action to find out if it's going to be right or wrong. By the same token, I think the death cross is a little bit more important to me right now. I want to see a fight go down over this region. It doesn't look like we're going to get it on the next tick. It's still going to take, take like multiple opens and close below the 200 exponential moving average before we actually get it. But if we do close here or lower in the next 36 minutes, then yeah, it's going to start to look a little bit more likely. Anyways, I think I'm going to start to leave it off like that. What I would say is, if we break below this boot box right here, probably bad. It's not probably bad, but extremely likely that we head down to about 96, 90, about 96, we'll call it. First target, then second target, probably around 92, and then longer term, we might talk about an 8800 target. By the same token, as long as we're kind of within this region, death cross is going to be pretty hard to get until we really get multiple opens and close below it. But more importantly, longer term, if we can get back above this region right here, and more importantly, get back above this white turned symbol to the upside, that's going to start to look pretty damn good as well, and going to open up the floodgates for still a move that I think is quite possible to about 11.8 or 11.7 to 11.8 region, and then after that, longer term, we can kind of we'll come back to it, I suppose we could say. But for right now, pretty much flat, taking profit on most of my positions, and gonna try to enjoy the rest of my Sunday as much as possible. I'll be back on tomorrow with some more video and live stream analysis. Hopefully a little bit more awake as well. I don't feel like I got the best night's sleep last night. Perhaps I'm drooling on right now, which I do apologize about. But hey, I do always want to be wishing you well. Want to be wishing you a nice little happy Sunday, and take care.